Hi, my name's Alex Pedley. I've been coaching executives, entrepreneurs and business leaders for over 20 years. And actually what I found is that most people, when they're trying to get themselves in shape and create an exercise habit, is they work out too frequently and way too intensely than they actually need to get the best results and create a habit. And what this actually tends to happen is they see suboptimal results, they struggle to maintain momentum, and often they stop working out altogether. So what I want to share with you today is a science-backed strategy that we use with our clients to ensure they get the best results from their workouts and they are able to maintain that progress over a long period of time and they get themselves ultimately into peak condition. So before I go into the strategy, it's important to understand how we actually see improvement in strength, fitness and increased lean muscle. So it all comes down to stress. Now, exercise is a stressor, okay? And what we do is when we do, say, a resistance workout, we're putting stress into the body. What happens is when we go through our recovery period, the body adapts to that stressor by increasing strength, muscle, and fitness really. And then when we train again, we just want to add a little bit more stress in. The body adapts and improves again by increasing muscle and strength, and we go through that process. And then over a period of time, we obviously increase a high amount of lean muscle, we become a lot stronger, but it has to be a progressive process. Now, the trouble is, it doesn't matter how much stress you put into your body. If you put in that much stress and do an extremely intense workout, compared to just putting in the right amount of stress into the body, you're not going to get better results. In fact, actually what you do is you see suboptimal results because you do something called overreaching, which what I'm going to do is actually go into that later in this video. So with working out, really the idea is the workout is only as good as our capacity to actually recover from that workout. Now, if you do a really hard workout, but you're not sleeping very well, you're under a high amount of stress, other things that impact recovery is, as we're getting older, there's a reason why, most athletes retire by about mid-30s. So when we go past that point, our recovery slows down. Our nutrition, how long we've actually been working out for, these all impact actually our capacity to recover. Okay, so if you're putting a very hard workout, very intense workout into the body and your recovery is not very good, you're just not going to get good results. And as I say, you're going to do something called overreaching. Now, overreaching is essentially when we've just trained too hard, okay, and the body doesn't have that capacity to be able to recover from it. Now, overreaching can be used as a training technique by people who are more advanced, but for people who are just starting out or just really at sort of a midpoint in their training, we don't want to be overreaching, because all that will happen is you overreach and you don't give yourself enough recovery time. What happens is you don't actually recover properly, you then put more stress into the body, you go further into that overreach and you continue doing it, and what you end up seeing over a period of time is you start seeing fatigue kick in, you start feeling more emotional, you're not enjoying your training as much, but also ultimately you don't see good results. You start seeing a decline in your performance. Instead of progressing, you start to see a decline in your performance. So we obviously don't want that to happen. Now, the problem is if you continue to do that over an extended period of time, you get to a point where you overtrain, and overtraining syndrome is seriously bad news. You do not want to get to that point because you've burnt out. Okay, now when you burn out, when you're overreaching, it can take 2 weeks to recover. When you're overtraining, it can take months to recover from it. So we really don't want to do it, and that's why it's so important that we actually train to where we're at. Okay, if you're just starting, you don't need to do big long workouts, you don't need to train intensely because your body's going to adapt to less stimulus. You're going to have to do in a shorter session, your body's going to actually adapt and improve from it. That's why it's such a good thing when you're at the very beginning, because you see the best results as your body builds up a resilience to working out. You get much smaller incremental improvements. Okay, but obviously by the time you get to that point, you're loving training, you're bought into the process of actually what it is, so those incremental improvements are enough. But at the very beginning, you don't have to train as hard. Okay, you don't have to train as often, and you still see really good results as long as obviously you're doing the right stuff. So what is the right stuff? So what we use with our clients is something called progressive overload. And progressive overload is essentially making sure that every single workout you're adding either some repetitions or some weight. Okay, and then you track what you're doing with your workouts, and then the next time you go again. So after you're going through a recovery phase, you follow the same sort of exercise regime for say 2 to 3 months, and you go in and the next session that you put in, which is following the same workout, and you may just to give you an overview of it, you may do, if you're doing 3 workouts in a week, they may be all different workouts. So what you're trying to get your progressive overload in is in, say, workout 1. When you do workout 1 again, you want to look at the numbers. You want to then make sure that you're trying to get some increased repetitions or increased weight. And it can be as small as increasing 1 repetition per set, or even over a group of sets. But as long as you're continually progressing and you're becoming stronger, that also correlates pretty well to actually increasing lean muscle. So that's the aim. And really that allows you to start of each training phase where you're comfortable, slightly outside your comfort zone. It's a hard workout, but you're able to then progress it the week after and progress it the week after, and so on and so forth. Now, if you start too hard each training phase and push yourself to the complete limit in the workout, it's going to make it a lot harder to use progressive overload. And again, you're much more likely to go into a phase of overreach. And as we've just discussed, we don't want to get to that point. So meeting yourself where you're at and training at a intensity that you're able to feel comfortable with, but it's still hard. Now, what we focus on is trying to get to about a 7 or 8 out of 10 in your RPE, which is your rate of perceived exertion. And what that basically means is you want to stop working out roughly 2 to 3 reps below complete failure. Now, the problem with this is people take this and think they don't actually have to work out hard, but 2 to 3 reps from complete failure is very hard. If you want to think of it like a bench press, 10 out of 10 is you went for the lift, but you'd want someone spotting you just in case that it falls back down on your chest and you're not able to lift it up. 9 is 1 rep before that, so it's still extremely hard. You're able to lift it, but it's extremely hard and you can maintain good form. 7 to 8 is 1 rep before that, and then obviously 8 is 1 rep before that, and then 7 is 1 rep before that. Still extremely hard. You're working very hard in your workouts, and we still need to push ourselves hard, but if you're pushing yourself to a 10 every single time, you're likely to push yourself into an overreach unless you're a very experienced trainer. So the other side of it is actually the training. And then you have your recovery. And the way to actually enable yourself to be able to train harder is to improve your recovery. So improving your sleep habits, so you get better quality sleep, improving your stress management habits, so you're able to recover faster from your workouts and from your daily life, and you're able to get periods of downtime and recovery in your day, and periods of stress instead of just being stressed all day, which a lot of people live their life like that for sure. And looking at other things like becoming more cardiovascular fit really helps with recovery. So what we do is with our clients is we look at resistance training, and then we pair it up with zone 2 cardiovascular training, which is a lower intensity form of cardiovascular training. So you should be able to have a conversation whilst you're doing it, but you don't particularly want to. And what that will do is that will speed up your recovery in your workouts, between sets, between workouts, and just in daily life in general. It will increase energy levels, but it also helps the body become better adapted at using fat as fuel. So instead of the calories we consume just being stored as fat, the body becomes better at actually using those calories as energy. Now, once you become more aerobically fit and you sleep better and you get better stress management and you begin to optimize your nutrition, so you're getting better quality nutrition, your recovery will improve, and that will ensure that you're able to push harder in your workouts, and it creates a snowball effect where you become fitter, you become stronger, you recover better, and you're increasing lean muscle, so you just become more effective human being really in terms of physical capacity. Now, the last thing you really need to be aware of is if you're doing resistance training, you want to be making sure you're getting enough protein in your diet. And a lot of the research shows really is what we want is a gram per pound of body weight. Now, it can seem like a lot of protein to be taken in, but if you're adding things like protein shakes in can help to actually hit those sorts of protein targets. So just to really give you an overview, just be aware that training intensity isn't always a good thing. It can actually lead to overreaching it in the end if you carry on doing it, overtraining. The key thing is to sort of make sure that you treat yourself like a high-performing machine, try and improve your recovery, try and improve your aerobic fitness, and use progressive overload in your resistance training so you're consistently improving your numbers week in week, tracking what you're doing so that you know you're becoming stronger, you're increasing lean muscle, and you're progressing in your workouts. With this approach, you'll get a lot of fulfillments out of your workouts. You'll feel like you want to do it each time because it will be sustainable, you'll see tangible improvements, and you won't feel completely wiped out after each workout. So if you found that insightful and you'd like to hear more, make sure that you save this video, that you share it, but also follow, if you want to see more of these videos. So yeah, until the next one, I'll see you then.